welcome to the Hold for Hold channel. If you just saw that botch, kudos to you. But we are here today to discuss Monday Night Raw and the big landscape changes that took place last night. As you can see right above me, Big E won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship last night in the main event to close out the show, and what a moment it was. One of those that you just feel proud to be a wrestling fan for. So yeah, we are going to discuss everything on Raw tonight. Overall, I felt the show was really good, honestly. For 3 hours long, sat through it all, and didn't feel too bad. As a fan, that's always what I look forward to, is a show that just feels quick and it feels like it's flowing into itself. And Raw didn't necessarily feel too clunky. There were some low points, which we'll talk about, but overall, I think the highs outweighed everything else on this night. So just very happy with the show overall, and I'm happy to be doing a Raw review. It's my first ever Raw review. Of course, had to botch the intro, but that's okay. If you're a new subscriber or a new viewer, please give this video a subscribe, a like, follow it wherever you're viewing this content. Just let me know that you're here and that you're joining the community. And with that being said, let's jump right into the show, as it was a jam-packed episode of Monday Night Raw. First up, we had a Big E, Lashley, and RKBro opening segment. Just a good little intro to what's going on in the night, just in case people didn't see it on Twitter earlier. Big E was going to cash in. That's what he was saying. He was going to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. And so MVP, gave a great speech, really gets in Big E's face, saying that he was scared of Roman and that Lashley is going to prove that he is the almighty when he defeats Randy Orton tonight, and he's going to have him scared running back to SmackDown. Everyone was really natural in this opening bit. I really enjoyed everyone's back and forth, and I think Big E really adds a lot to these because Big E's dialogue isn't scripted as often. Like, he may hit some bullet points, but his little interactions with people, his in-between lines, phrases, and just making everything feel like a conversation always helps out these in-ring promos, and this one was a good one to watch for that. The crowd was, of course, really hot for this. I mean, they chanting. It kind of seemed back and forth. They were chanting for Big E and they were chanting for Randy, which I think Randy's going to turn on Riddle eventually, so we'll see how that's going to continue. But the crowd was overall enthused for this segment. And then when Lashley speaks, Lashley gets in Big E's face towards the end of it, and it's just so scary. It's perfect that he doesn't speak that often, that he lets MVP do a lot of the legwork there, so that way when Lashley really speaks to someone, it's scary, it's intimidating, and it means something. And I think that's a lot of the problems with wrestling, is that everything is overdone. And I think the one thing they've done right with Lashley is that they haven't overexposed him. And so when he does speak, it's really important. But unfortunately, he opened his mouth and he got an RKO out of nowhere to end off this segment and give us a preview for tonight. So yeah, overall, just a good opening bit here to start us off. Before a commercial, we see Charolette Flair warming up. Go to commercial, we come back, we get a Charolette Flair interview. She says that she didn't get to the top by making friends, and tells Shayna she needs to drop the dead weight. Just short little promo. And then we get a Flair Shayna Baszler match. This was advertised. Of course, this is a Champions Contender match, which has no meaning, I'm assuming, especially when on commentary they mentioned that Charlotte is going to be facing Alexa Bliss at Extreme Rules for the WWE Women's Championship. I was like, okay, so where is Shayna contending for then? But beside the point, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have a backstage segment before they come out to the ring. Ed said that it was filmed earlier tonight, and it's basically them trying to get back on the same page, but ends off with Nia looking a little shady, looking like she's not really honest there. So starting off the match, we get a big plancha from Flair as we go to commercial. Flair counters a sleeper attempt into a back suplex, which was, I think it's becoming like one of her signature moves, is these back suplexes, and she gives a good one. She misses a boot, and Shayna gives her like a nice German suplex. Always here for a good German suplex. We get a comeback from Charlotte with some big chops and that Andrade Judas effect that she does, which she doesn't hit it as crisp as him, but I think it's also because she's like just a little more taller than him too, so her arm reach is just not the same. I think she's eventually we're gonna see her hit a nice crisp one, but she hits that for two, and then she goes up top, does the moonsault to the outside, which she only does on occasion, so it was pretty cool to see. And that brings out Nia Jax, and of course she's distracted by Nia Jax coming out, so Shayna takes control from there. She gets her in the ring. Flair eats another German suplex. Shayna takes off her knee pad, and then Flair just immediately attacks her knee, and then gets a leg bar on the ropes, so kind of like a draping leg bar. And she rolls out of the ring, taunts Nia on the outside, and then big knee in the corner from Shayna. But Nia, oh sorry, this is the finish here, which I like the finish. It's just it was a little bit. I think they should have gave Shayna more offense because they were selling it as though Shayna had Charlotte on the ropes, but she didn't really. I mean, I don't know. Shayna gives a big V trigger in the corner to Charlotte. Charlotte goes down, and presumably Shayna's about to go for the cover, but Nia gets up on the apron and distracts Shayna, allowing Charlotte to hit a big boot and get the win. It was, again, I don't necessarily like Charlotte using the big boot as a finish on someone like Shayna, first of all, but I know you're not going to tap out, so I guess that's okay. And I guess this just solidifies the breakup that's going to happen between Shayna and Nia, which I think most people at this point are okay with seeing. I was never the biggest fan of this pairing, but I am worried that Shayna's not going to be she's not going to win over Nia in this feud. I hope I'm wrong, but for now, it was an effective match. It was a good match. And like I said, Charlotte was really MVP of this match, if you ask me. I mean, she did get a lot of offense in, but everything felt crisp. Everything felt good. So post-match, Alexa Bliss brings out Lily, and she has a gift in her hands. Before Alexa can even say much, Charlotte starts a promo saying that Alexa needs to leave her dolls behind, and that she did, and now she has championships to collect, which was, good line, I guess. Alexa tells her she needs to relax. She needs to loosen up, let her hair down, which ironically, Alexa had her hair up while Charlotte did have her hair down, and Charlotte did point out, I do have my hair down, which was a nice little subtle line, making it more conversational. And then so Charlotte opens the gift after a lot of fanfare. The fans really want her to open this gift. She opens it up. It's another Lily doll dressed as Charlotte, and they named it Charlie. She throws the doll at Alexa, and then they get into a brawl. Alexa surprises her with a code red and holds up the title to end the segment. It was effective. I hadn't seen Alexa in a while personally, because Raw is too long most of the time to watch if you're not going to record this. So to see Alexa in this character, it feels weird still, especially with The Fiend not being there anymore. There's no chance of them reuniting. So I'm interested to see where they're going to take this character with Alexa. Charlie is obviously going to be used for something. I just don't know what. And yeah, I'm intrigued. I think this match is going to be a good match at Extreme Rules. And I just hope we don't have any more championship contender matches before then that don't mean anything. But moving on, we had a 6-man tag match. It is Drew McIntyre and the Viking Raiders versus Jinder Mahal and Veer and Shanky. Wow, this match was a surprise. Well, I guess I'll just run it down real quick. We can discuss it at the end here, but essentially Drew McIntyre makes his entrance first, and as he's making his entrance, Jinder and his crew jump Drew before the Viking Raiders can make their way out to the ring. So Viking Raiders eventually come, make the save, match is started. It's still weird to hear Jinder Mahal was a former WWE champion, especially the way he was booked in this match. Drew hits a nice belly on Veer on the outside, which this is really the big issue. There was basically no comeback sequence for Drew. He tagged. He wasn't the first man in, so he didn't start the match. He gets the hot tag. He does the whole hot tag shtick of like everybody goes down. So he gives that belly to belly on Veer on the outside. He gives Jinder a spine buster on the inside, which was crisp. And then Spanky comes in and he eats that Mikanoshu driver that, oh, I can never get tired of seeing. And then, yeah, Drew hits a Claymore for the win. And it was essentially a 3-on-1 handicap match that he won. Even he was jumped before the match. I mean, it's just such a weird booking decision here. I mean, you're keeping him really strong, but you're also, that was a former WWE champion that you just jobbed out there. So I don't know. I hope this is the end of the story. I don't know where else they're gonna take it. What could they say? They got beat by one man. So, anyways, on to brighter horizons. As Big E and the New Day have a backstage segment, it's like a slow reveal that Big E's with the rest of his New Day colleagues, and I truly loved it. I mean, I was marking out the whole night for anything Big E did, but this was just nice to see them reunite. And he asks Kofi for advice, and Kofi tells him that he doesn't need to be given advice, that he's ready for this moment. Following that, we have the Damien Priest match. It's revealed that Jeff Hardy is the mystery opponent. They were advertising it was a mystery opponent. They did not talk about it on the show. They just put a graphic, Jeff Hardy. We go to commercial, we come back, and the 24/7 division have their, their shtick. They're in the parking garage, and Reggie just does a whole bunch of parkour over some forklifts and stuff. Oh, hello. Well, thank you, JFA Goot, for following. It's nice to see someone follow. But yeah, the Reggie stuff happened. I'm okay with the Reggie stuff. Drake Maverick comes in, he tells Truth that his plan sucked. Truth yells at Akira Tozawa, which, oh my god, Akira Tozawa in the 24/7 division are true crime. But that's beside the point. So I guess we're going to be seeing more of this Drake Truth Akira feud going forward, and Reggie just running away from it all. So I guess I'm okay with it. And following that, we actually get the match. Damien Priest and Jeff Hardy. Sheamus comes out to join commentary before the bell rings. And so match starts off. We get a shoulder bump exchange, some smooth chain wrestling, which was kind of surprising. I always like a good chain wrestling start. We get a hot start from Hardy. He hits a clothesline from the apron to the floor. Priest comes back from the corner, then hits that senton from the middle rope where he kind of drapes his 1 foot over and hops. Always like to see it. And then, yeah, Jeff Hardy. Oh, we get a bell clap on the top rope to Jeff Hardy, so that catches him off guard. And Jeff Hardy reverses a back suplex in midair. It's one of those spots that Bret Hart used to do a bunch, where someone put him for the back suplex on the top rope. He turns his body so that way it's like a cover on the way down. But Jeff didn't turn all the way, and his midsection lands right on Priest's neck. And so it's a really scary spot. Ref is in there immediately to check on him. But it could have been worse, but they continue the match. Sheamus is great on commentary the whole time, by the way. I really think Sheamus is doing career work right now as a singles competitor. He's not only interesting as a character and can talk to his character, but I want to see him wrestle. He's putting on great matches. So he was getting me hyped for this match and his match at Extreme Rules. But anyways, we get a middle rope splash from Hardy for 2, and Hardy's splash looked like he didn't brace himself at all. He just plopped down on a Priest, and it was pretty fun. He gets a 2 count from that. We get some big forearms from Priest. Priest hits a windmill kick for 2, which is always impressive for a guy that size to hit a windmill kick. Priest gets caught up on the top. We get a middle rope leg lariat from the apron to the ring. So he did the same kind of draping that he does for his normal senton outside, but he did it inside. And he kind of hits like a reverse famouser. So it was a little bit weird. They didn't know what to call it. I think they called it like a super body scissors. I'm pretty sure Sheamus said that. So it was a cool move. And then here towards the finish, Priest turns a twist of fate into a reckoning. It wasn't as smooth, but it was pretty smooth. And then 1, 2, 3. As the ref is counting 2, you can hear Sheamus's microphone drop, and so you know he's immediately getting in, and he does, and he attacks Priest, and then he goes after Hardy, which is a little interesting. And as he's attacking Hardy, he turns around, and Priest gives him a bro kick before Sheamus can give his bro kick. And yeah, overall, this might have been. No, it wasn't the match of the night, but it was a really good match. It was a really good match, definitely worth checking out. And I think this might lead to a triple threat at Extreme Rules. I don't know. Hardy getting that beatdown from Sheamus. At the least, it's probably going to be a Sheamus Hardy match next week, which I'm open to seeing after this match. This was really fun, and the crowd loves Jeff Hardy. So, moving on now, we have our Rhea, Ripley, and Nikki Ash backstage interview that's kind of interrupted by Natalya and Tamina. Natalya says they're going to Natalya says that they dominate eras, which I really like that phrase. I don't know if they've used it before, but they just get in each other's face. And then Tamina throws the first shove at Nikki, and she really does shove her. And a brawl ensues, and it has to get broken up. And we get a Nikki and Tamina match announced for right now. And they immediately kick on Nikki's music, which I really liked. So that way it's like immediate flow of action. Nikki's going to come out. We go to commercial. We come back. We get a Randy Orton and Matt Riddle backstage. They're in their dressing room. Matt Riddle's just talking and talking, rambling on. And Randy Orton puts on the headphones. Then we get Big E walking through, and Randy takes off his headphones. Randy gets in his face. Big E just said he wanted to wish him luck, and he's just kissing his briefcase, just right in his face, just making out hard with his briefcase. From here, we get back to the action. We have a Nikki and Tamina match. Honestly, this is going to be the match that I know is going to catch the most criticism from Raw, because it was weirdly long yet awkwardly too short. So Tamina starts off strong with some Beal throws from corner to corner, which I really enjoyed. Corey has a great call here. He says that Tamina hasn't overlooked Nikki, she's overwhelmed her. And I really like that context, because normally they always say that, oh, everyone's overlooking Nikki. But no, she is just beating her up. We get a huge slap from Tamina to Nikki right in the face, and it makes a huge echo. And the entire announce team does a great job selling it. We do get a comeback from Nikki. She's selling like her ribs as she's coming back, which I really enjoyed. And then we get a tornado DDT to Tamina from the corner, and it gets a 3. And this is where people have been saying that it wasn't supposed to be that way. And I also saw that Tamina's music actually played when it was a 3, because Tamina kicks out at like 2 3/4, but the ref still counted it as a 3. So the match is over. And so Tamina just attacks Nikki again, drives her into the barricade, and Natalya helps. And they both, they beat down on Rhea and Nikki out on the outside. So then our next match following right after that, we get Natalya versus Rhea, which was another good match, honestly. And I think it's because they had to either go a little bit longer because the last match had that weird finish, or they just wanted to get the show back on track. Either way, it was a good match. So yeah, Natalya has a lot of trash talk. Said the B word like maybe 10 times during this match. It felt a little forced, but it's okay. We had a great start with some fast and smooth back and forth. Nia takes control early. Rhea comes back with a big boot, but eats a discus clothesline on the outside. She was trying to drop kick Tamina and Natalya, and she only gets Tamina. And so when she gets back to her feet, Natty hits her with a nice discus clothesline. And then back in the ring, then back to the outside, we get a snap snooplex on the outside from Natty to Rhea, and I always love a snap snooplex on the outside. It's like, I don't know, it's a good spot. Rhea Ripley comes back after commercials, but she gets hit with like a rope rebound atomic drop, which was really cool for 2. Rhea gets a nice Northern Lights suplex. She bridges through. I think she only gets 1.5. She locks in that reverse cloverleaf that she likes to do, and she can't really lock it all the way in, so she sits out as Natty's trying to roll under her, so it's kind of like a roll up, and she gets 2 on that. Natty looks to lock into the sharpshooter, but she can't do it. Rhea teases the riptide. Tamina gets on the apron, and Nikki, like at that point, either knocks Tamina down. It wasn't very clear. I guess she knocked Tamina down, and Natty goes for a roll up, and she puts her feet on the ropes, and Nikki breaks up that. She like moves Natty's legs off the ropes. Ripley gets into the reverse cloverleaf again, and that gives her a win. I was kind of surprised they had Natty tap out. I don't know why, because they do job out Natty a lot, but just when someone has a submission finish, I think it's like a little bit more important when they tap out because they're a submission person. But aside the point, next up we had an 8-man tag match: Mansoor and Ali with the New Day versus T-Bar Mace with AJ and Amos. This was a fun match. This felt like a house show match. I mean, it was basically advertised as a house show match just for fun, and I don't mind that. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, there's no story involved." There is story. The Mansoor Ali story still kind of developed in this match, and their relationship with the New Day, maybe an alliance. I think this is fun. And overall, getting Omos over, I think, is still like the main goal of the tag division right now, is to get Omos over. So it was interesting. So starting off, we get Mansoor and AJ. They do some fun arm drags and a big drop kick from Mansoor to AJ. AJ gets trapped in the corner for those carousel of stomps where just one person after the other is tagging in, stomping, tagging in, stomping. Only person that doesn't get a tag is Ali. He's reached out for one, but no one wanted to give him one. And so as they're kind of taking AJ out the corner, Ali forces a tag to himself in, and he loses the advantage, immediately loses the advantage. We get a big discus boot from T-Bar to Ali. Mansoor makes the hot tag to Woods, and the New Day go on a big run from there. AJ reverses the Trouble in Paradise into Ishigoroshi, as only AJ Styles could. It was a good bit right there. The match completely breaks down at this point. Everyone's in the ring. Everyone's knocking each other down. We get some fun action from everyone. Ali nails a tornado DDT to AJ, but it sends AJ flying across the ring, and he makes a quick tag to Amos. Amos comes in. Ali stare off. It's really, the height difference is just astounding. Just seeing Amos next to T-Bar and Mace, who were 6'3", 6'4" guys, that was just crazy. So Mansoor and the New Day tried to run off Amos and rescue Ali, but they can't. And then Ali eats that choke bomb for 3, a one-handed pin on Ali. Overall, just a fun match, fun little way to keep the show going. Next up, we had the MVP Lashley interview. MVP calls Big E an annoyance, and he's still overlooking him as a threat, very much overlooking him. That's the whole theme of this, is just he doesn't take him seriously. He says that Lashley is leaving here tonight as champion. Big E interrupts by just off-screen going, "Boo, hiss, hiss, boo." I thought it was really funny. I enjoyed that bit because at first I did not know who was doing that. And yeah, Big E interrupts him, booing and hisses. He just, points to the Money in the Bank briefcase, and it's on. I mean, this is when I realized, okay, he's really going to cash in. Any doubt that I had kind of dissipated at this point. Next, we get a Cross promo, which, I mean, Cross is the most controversial figure on Raw nowadays. I didn't think it was bad. I mean, it was just boring. And I'm glad I didn't have to see his dumb entrance. So that made me happy. And he was wearing like a nice jacket. And he was just in the back, just doing his thing. He said that he plans on continuing the suffering he's causing. He won't stop until he defeats everyone. Says he won't get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, that was decent enough. I hope that, whatever they're planning with him is better than what's been, because every time they would run these, they would put like flashbacks to him dominating people, and I'm like, well, you lost to Jeff Hardy on your first night, and then you kind of did a back and forth with Keith. You didn't really dominate Keith Lee, so yeah, it's okay. Anyways, main event time: Randy Orton versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. This match was a lot of fun. Both of these men, they were selling this as WrestleMania quality or caliber matchup, and I don't disagree. This match was living up to its fullest expectations here. Big match feel from the go. So early on, Riddle distracts Bobby, like really early. Bobby Lashley's like cat and mouse with Randy. Randy keeps going inside the ring, outside the ring. And so on one part, Bobby's outside. Riddle distracts him by just being there. Bobby just gets in his face because he's just tired of looking at him. He just gets in his face. Randy comes from behind and sneaks him. Just gets an advantage there by throwing him into the post, into the steps, brings it back into the ring. Bobby Lashley powers through all that, but then gets cut off, thrown into the ring post again. So he's really selling his shoulder at this point. Randy was going for that middle rope DDT, but he gets just like tossed out, like a belly to belly over the ropes. And he's selling his ankle on that fall, so that came into play. Randy hits a back suplex onto the barricade from there. And Bobby falls into like the timekeeper's area, and I was like, dang, that looks a little risky. But anyways, Randy catches Bobby on the top rope. We're coming back from a commercial break. So Bobby's on the top rope for some reason. What was he going to do from there? And Randy Orton gives him a big superplex. And commentary selling this as like his dad's superplex, which pretty nice homage there if that's true. And he gets a 2 from that. We're back on the outside. Bobby Lashley picks up Randy Orton in that fireman's carry, and then he drives him into the ring post like head first. And it looked pretty bad. We get a big shoulder tackle into the corner from Lashley. Lashley locks in a sleeper hold. Crowd cheering on Orton at this point. Orton finds out, avoids the one-handed spinebuster that Bobby Lashley normally does. And then we get that clothesline comeback from Randy, clothesline, big taunt, clothesline. And then we get the snap power slam from Randy to Bobby that looked really crisp. It was a nice spot there. And that gets him a 2. Gets the middle rope DDT, and he's going for the RKO. He's snapping at the ground. He's going. Goes for the RKO. Lashley avoids, nails a spear for a close 2. And he tries locking the hurt lock. And Randy does some great character work here. He's like, his hands are up, but he's trying to just slowly stop Bobby at any chance he gets. He's trying to stop one hand, and he's going back and forth. It really looks like he's in trouble. It's a great sell from Randy here. But yeah, he's not able to put in the hurt lock. He elbows out of it, and then he hits an RKO. But he hits it, and Lashley is kind of close to the rope, so MVP pulls Lashley even further away from Randy, so Randy can't get the cover. And MVP and Riddle start to argue outside. MVP's like swinging his cane at him, telling him he's going to hit him. And he turns around and he gets an RKO on the floor from Randy Orton. It's good selling from MVP. And then Randy walks into the ring, immediately gets hit with another spear for 3. And Lashley retains the WWE Championship. Immediately after the match, though, Lashley starts to beat up Riddle. He does that fireman's carry into the post that he did earlier to Riddle. And then he grabs Randy, gives him the one-handed spinebuster through the announce table, which was a nice spot. I really enjoyed that. And then, but Bobby's selling his knee after he hits that. I guess he might have just tweaked it, lifting up Randy. Gets back in the ring. He's limping into the ring, and Big E comes running down with the referee. He's cashing in his Money in the Bank contract. So, yeah, here we go. We have Big E versus Lashley. This is actually a little bit of a match. Crowd erupts. I mean, this is like fever pitch right now. Big E slaps Lashley right in the face, because I guess Lashley during the commercial was like, I'm not going to defend my title. I'm injured. And so he slaps Lashley to snap him out of it, to make him have the match. And it does. Lashley immediately takes down Big E, starts a ground and pound. And E gets some space, and then he goes in for a big chop block, gets all of it. Bobby then avoids a big ending and nails a spear for 2. And Big E sold that spear. He did the whole inside out sell, which was, it put some doubt in the audience. You could tell the audience went a little bit scared there. Big E, he gets Big E up. He's trying to hit a Dominator. Big E avoids the Dominator, hits the big ending. 1, 2, 3, and we have a new WWE champion. Big E. Oh, just a great moment. And the New Day run down to the ring to celebrate with their comrade. And that's how we end the night. And like I said at the head of the show, it was a really good moment. And I'm really happy to see Big E as WWE champion. I know there's some criticism that, they might not have built to this moment as best as they could, but when you have a person like that, in my opinion, when you have a person like Big E, who the fans want to see win, who they want to see in this moment, I think stories kind of can get washed behind and get overshadowed by the moment itself, and that's what happened here. I didn't care that it was a 1 day build essentially to this. It was enough. It was enough. They sprinkled him in throughout the show, and every time he showed up, it made me excited. So I have to give him props for that. It was a good showing for Big E. Great showing for Lashley too. I do want to touch on Lashley's WWE Championship reign, because I think this is going to go down as one of his career works. I know I keep saying that, but I truly think we're seeing a lot of great wrestling right now and a lot of great storytelling. And the Hurt Business and Lashley might not have always been the best story, especially when they broke up the Hurt Business too soon. But Lashley's overall reign is memorable. It's a good reign. When he squashed Kofi at SummerSlam, was it SummerSlam or Money in the Bank? One of the two. He squashed Kofi Kingston. It was memorable. When he beat Drew McIntyre, it's memorable. I really enjoyed Bobby Lashley's reign, and I hope that, he's still in the main event. I hope we don't see him, I don't know, get lost in the shuffle. Feud with Karrion Kross, God please no. But who knows? We could see the draft shake this up, which, by the way, the draft was officially announced for October 1st and 4th. So that's going to be interesting to see who goes where. I wouldn't mind seeing Lashley on SmackDown, a Lashley with MVP versus Roman and Heyman. I mean, that's dream match material right there. It's a dream feud material. So, yeah, overall, Monday Night Raw, definitely worth the watch. And hats off to Lashley for working a hell of a match. And Randy Orton, too, was a great match. But we have a new WWE champion. I can't be happier about that. Well, that's my thoughts. That's the results of WWE's Monday Night Raw. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you guys feel about Big E being the WWE champion and who you would like to see him feud with next. And I'll see you guys next time. It was a good show. Thank you guys.